Hope you're doing well. I am going to be starting a new one of these images. A new wizardry. Because I wasn't crazy about the last one. It was okay. But I can tell just from looking at it that it wasn't going to be anything that I was super excited about. So I'm just going to restart on another one. This one's going to be the calcudry. I don't know how you pronounce that. So I'm gonna start on this creature and see what we can do. I'm gonna start out very gestural, and then I'll refine after that. As always, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, feel free to tag me in the chat. Just at David Posa. I feel like this creature only has 4 fingers, judging by that art. I have to work from these little teeny tiny references for this stuff. Exaggerate that shoulder a bit. He's definitely a little herky-jerky in the image I'm looking at. Just waiting for that to transform. Okay. He has like kind of gross non-wings. I'm not really sure what they are. I gotta change his pose. He's looking like he's about to have a heart-to-heart with a little kid or something, getting down. bending over. I want to make him a little more alien looking. Just trying to make something relatable, guy. Yeah, that's cooler. Have like the wings going backwards. Now the question is, do I want to refine this at all in this program or refine another way? I should probably refine here because all I'm doing is just fixing up my sketch. This thing I used to do. Let's lock this layer and just use a brighter color. Just go over it. Okay. All right. So now I can zoom in a little bit and start to refine this guy. Santana Art says, I'm working as an illustrator for an editorial in the US. I'm from Colombia, but they have been abusive lately. Should I resign or wait until I get a better artist to find another job? Until you get a better artist to find another job? So you just find another position somewhere. I mean, don't. If you absolutely are like having to endure something shitty, you know, that sucks, but I get it. But if at all possible, I would get out, you know, as soon as you can. That's shitty. You never want people to just be able to take advantage of you like that. I would never advise anybody to stay in a place where somebody is actually openly abusing them. Hold on a sec. I'm going to turn off my display for a sec so that I can hop over into Photoshop. I'm gonna refine in Photoshop this time. But yeah, I would not take shit from a place unless you absolutely are like dying and you have to do it. I mean, that sucks. without knowing like your entire situation, I can't give you like any super specific advice other than if you let yourself be walked all over, then that's just what's going to happen to you. I can't do it in my car, but leave it in the chat. I'm sure there are people that have been in this chat for a long time who know exactly what to do, just because I've answered that so many times, or just questions about that stuff. And if you're a patron, you can always leave questions like that in the Discord too. The brush that I'm using right now is one that I made a long time ago. I made it for like inking purposes when I was using Photoshop a lot for my work. And I found it to be pretty helpful for getting like the rough detail in on some of the stuff that I'm doing. So what I've been doing is drawing it up like this, and then doing the final detailing and painting in Krita on top of this type of drawing. Not that I couldn't do the whole thing in Krita, I absolutely could, but just to break things up really, I'll do it in here too. Oh, that's nice to hear, Milky Rich. Yeah, let's not do the tongue. I'm not gonna change up this concept. I want to stay true to the wizardryness. I might be injecting too much modernity into it with something like that. I'm a purist when it comes to old fantasy. Thanks, Guy. I appreciate that. So yeah, trying to get some decent progress on this stuff. I'm trying to do my full drawings like this. I mean, mostly like the sketch phase is informational. So like I want to make sure that all of the potential details or the look of the character or whatever, like I want to make sure all of that's baked into this initial drawing, so that when I'm doing that painting that I do when I'm in Krita, that I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just working on getting everything out, because certain aspects of that Krita brush is really good, but other things, like kind of what I'm doing right now, like these real intentional, specific tiny lines, like that's something that's a little easier to do with a brush like this. So yeah, like it's all about feeling like what you want to do with the brush, like whatever your intention is. Like if you're going in, you want something very gestural and broad that gets across like giant shapes and things quickly, then Krita is really great. But when it comes to like refining like this, I do always try and find like something else to do with that, like whether it's working in like Clip Studio or a brush that I have in Photoshop or just something. All those things are helpful. Like you won't see this drawing in the final. This is just for painting on top of that. So that's really it. But it's super helpful. And it's not a ton of extra work. I've just done so many paintings that I know what it takes to get it to a final. So I don't want to spend that time guessing in the final painting, like doing this type of work at that stage. Then it's not super fun for me to do it at that stage. I want it to be there already. I want to have already thought about all that stuff. So that's really all this is just me thinking through the final painting. Also, because this is like gestural lines and things, like, or detailed lines rather, over a gestural painting, I can then like I can just take these, and then if I'm sending something off to a client, I can just draw on top of this in Krita again, like with that black like inking brush, and that is enough for me to submit a sketch to a client. So I'll send that off with some colors. It's like a quick thing to imply like what I'm doing. Thanks, Riley. I'm trying. I found that Raver Lord. I didn't have the right look for it, so it wasn't worth finishing. The Raver Lord dude is so cool looking in the concept that I don't want to half-ass it, so I'm just skipping that one for now and hopping over to this ghoul. I just like classic fantasy looking things that are still new and interesting looking, like these guys. I think they're so cool. All this wizardry art just has its own unique energy that I really like. Do I like spiders? Well, I don't hate them. I've begun to like spiders more now that I have a kid who loves spiders. And I don't mean like he thinks they're cool or anything. He like actually like loves them. Like he won't let you kill any insects or nothing. So he like lets bugs and things like crawl all over him. Dave has a really soft touch, says Guy. And thank you so much. You feel beautiful. I know this dude probably did like a million of these concepts, but he still falls prey to the tangents. The best of us fall prey to tangents. And the tangent in this concept that was throwing me off is the wing to arm. I couldn't tell if that was like a weird hook arm or if that was a wing. It's definitely a wing. Do you plan to make oil, acrylic, or whatever paintings in the future? Do you master those techniques? I don't really plan on doing that. Like, you know, I have to want to do it. I have to be like into the idea. It just depends if I ever have that kind of time where I can set aside, like, unfortunately for me, both, well, fortunately and unfortunately, in that regard at least, is I'm always so busy. Like I have so much work going on with clients. Like I'm like doing a million pieces of concept art and big promo images and things. Like I just do so much stuff that it's hard for me to have time for really anything else. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just, it's bad if I ever wanted to do that. Just like chill and do other work. It's hard for me to say that that's not good though, because like the more responsibility people give me in games and jobs and stuff, and I just improve. Like I know that that's where I do my best stuff. It doesn't mean like every image I do is incredible when I'm working for somebody, because it's harder to do that because I can't control all aspects of it, and sometimes I only have like, you know, a limited amount of time. Like I'll get the final concepts for a huge promo image that's due in like a couple days, and I'll have to do like a big old painting in like 5 days, and that's pretty difficult. But I just don't end up in those situations when I'm working on my own. So it's like making me better and faster, and like I'm one of those weirdos that loves crunch. I like it because I want to see what I'm capable of, and I wouldn't put myself into those uncomfortable positions willingly. So being like forced into them is a nice way to see like how I'm gonna do it. Like how am I gonna figure this out? How am I gonna deliver on this deadline? I love those kind of tests. So I don't know if I could ever stop like working for people for that reason, because I don't even care about art that much. Like, I love what I do, but I really like the aspect of like learning and growing and testing myself and all that. Like, that's really what gets me excited about art. And I would never do that to myself unless it's comics. I'll do that to myself with comics, but I wouldn't do it to myself with paintings. I don't care the same way. And I've grown so much just in the past 2 years as an artist. Like, I've learned so much shit. It's crazy. I feel like I'm way better. I was just trying to figure shit out for like a while. Well, I'm not putting anything off till the last minute. That's just my clients. My clients have to wait for stuff to get approved, or they have to wait for certain assets to come through. And if they don't have the assets, then we can't finish the images that I'm working on. So we need all the reference and stuff to be game accurate. And if none of that stuff's around, then I just have to kind of wait. And then as soon as I get it, then I can start running. Otherwise, I would never I would never put things off to the last minute. I like just getting everything done. Yeah, Milkman. It's like I ended up with so many different approaches through the years, and like I just didn't know. I don't know, it's like sort of having a puzzle in front of you. Like, you know, those like really intense ones where it just feels like it's like a little box that's made of steel, and it has like segments in it, and there's a way to open it, make it fall apart, and then you can get the piece inside, right? And it's like, you get that it's the box, you have all the pieces in front of you, but you can't figure out how to arrange them in such a way that you solve the puzzle. And that's pretty much how I've felt about art. Where like, I know I have all the pieces, I just have to figure out what arrangement they go into. Yeah, this was a good call using this brush. This is much easier. Just from like an informational perspective, getting everything down on the page. Oh, thanks, Riley. I loved your latest animation, by the way. It was really funny. That was great. I'm glad that you're just super consistent with this. I like that these wings just don't make sense. They don't really work. It's just kind of there. They're just weird wings. Okay, now it's starting to come together. We're almost there. We're almost at the end of the actual figuring out what I'm doing phase. So close. Yeah, of course, Riley. Have a good night. Do you think natural intelligence or IQ makes your art development quickly and better? Does it help improve your development? Do you think the imagination also comes from intelligence, or is that only hard work, passion, reading? I'm sure, like, you know what? I'll give you this with that. I think when I was younger, I had more of a like kind approach to that, where I would say like everybody can do it, you know, like anybody can put in hard work and do any of this stuff. I think like now that I'm older and I've just seen so much of people, and I just go like, no, they really can't. They really can't, you know? Like it's so like, I know that it's difficult to do and all that, but like some people just don't have just the common sense to make stuff happen. It's pretty brutal. Like you hate to see it, but you're just like, I don't know what happened to them. Yeah, like some people just smoked too much weed and then fried their brain, or just did too much of any drug and got fucking destroyed. And then you're just like, well, you know, maybe you'll like accidentally get pretty successful, but right now, like whatever's going on where you're looking off into the distance and nothing's there, there's no way you're going to be as successful as I am in this industry and like work super hard. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's certain things where you're just like, yeah. Like to an extent, for sure, anybody can do it if you follow steps. It's like, but there's also a type of person that goes out to become a doctor or become whatever. They're just somebody that's gonna want it more than other people do. Who knows what spurred them on that or inspired them to want to do that, but that exists, you know? So you can't deny that fact. It's not like you can, you know, you can wish that everybody could do it, and it didn't, you know, that having any form of intelligence like that doesn't necessarily play like a huge factor. And I'm not saying that like you can't do it. Of course you can. I do think that if you're the kind of person that wants it, that's it. If you want something bad enough, you'll do it. But certain people, it's like I've met where I just like try to maybe offer advice or whatever, and you just know like, oh man, they're not going to do it. And I also say this because I think that it's motivating, you know, for people who feel like maybe I'm talking to them. It's like, yeah, prove me wrong, you know? Prove me wrong. That would be great. I would love for you to hear what I'm saying and be like, fuck you, I'll do it. Great. It's all I want. All I want from this world is young people to push to do something great with their lives. That's all I want. Yeah, AI is a demotivator, but I think for if you can bust your ass and get through the initial hump of like those early years where you're just building skill and going for it and trying to survive, like if you can get through that phase, and once you're in the world doing art for people, there's definitely like, how would I put it? Similar to the way that, you know, like AI music. It's like, to an outsider, you might hear AI music and be like, wow, that's so good. But I think to everybody else that's like in that world, they see right through it. And I think the same thing happens with art, where it's like, yeah, people want to work with people. They want to do, you know, there's definitely going to be people that are like, hey, I'm just going to use AI. But they would have been the shitty people from the start to work with. They would have been the people that would be nightmare clients. They would have been clients for sure if they were serious about making something, but they would have been shit clients. Because even companies that I've worked for that use AI in any way as like a referential tool or something like that, where like they'll use it during like the intro phase of like concepting, where they're like, it could be something like this, and it's like a note that comes back to you from an art director who maybe can't, you know, as quickly as they would like to get across exactly what they're thinking. And even then, it's like the AI prompt will be like a suggestion, right? It's just like, here's this thing, which is like kind of the idea we were thinking, but you know, don't do this. It's just a thought. Like that sort of stuff happens. But I think like as people become more and more acclimated to it and see through just how empty it is, then there will be a place for artists. I think there's going to be a need for them because we're replacing this whole generation of, you know, new artists with the computer, and the computer is just derivative, but we need people to come up with new styles, have new voices, new interesting takes on things. If you don't have that, then you just don't have any evolution going forward, and that's such a shame. We need that. AI is not going to be making new stuff. And as I've said a million times before, it's just, it has no inherent value. That idea of, you know, like what does art even mean? Why does it matter if you pay for it? What is creation? It's all measured against a finite human lifespan. And, you know, the fact that you did it within your time on this earth, you were able to garner such a skill set so that now you're creating these works It's like all of that stuff is that's like the value of what it is to make art. You know, it's measured against that side of just being a human being. So to not have that and to just have it be a product, it's like, okay, that's good for like an initial cute thing that you have, but it's valueless because it's not impressive. There's nothing about it that's, you know, interesting. And people who can actively see like what's good about art, they see through it. Just out of curiosity, the brush you did, the refinement, is the Venom brush? No, in this one, it's a inking brush. I can't remember if you looked at like one of my old posts where maybe I did something kind of comic-y, where I had like a real line quality to it. That's what I'm using. It's a brush I made a while ago. Okay, let me change the color of this shadow so it's easier to see when I move over into doing the final art. So I don't want it to muddy up my lines, but I do like having the shadows there. Helps me when I'm doing my like rendering later on. Just finished my first art job working for free. Am I a dumbass? I mean, potentially. Depends what it is. Do you feel like a dumbass? Actually came out pretty good. I'm happy with that. Alright, cool. This will be good. Alright, let me mute my screen again. Hello. Do you think you've have some big funded project for a game or whatever in the future? Maybe when your kids are older? Will I fund a big project? Maybe. But it depends what happens. Whatever comes down the road. If there's something super exciting, then potentially, yeah. I wouldn't rule anything out. You never know. All right. Now time for the easy stuff, where I just paint this whole thing again with a brush, like just black paintbrush. Have you ever had any problems with wrist pain or repetition due to excessive work? A little bit, but you just have to exercise and do things outside of drawing, really, and stay on top of that. Stay on top of stretching, taking breaks when you can. I mean, that's most of what I do. Is I just try and exercise. I work out like at least 3 times a week, if not more, if I can. And I've been doing that since, like, I guess consistently I've been doing that since like April of last year. But I've noticed that like ever since I was like really consistent with working out, I haven't had many issues. Yeah, I know you left Wizards of the Coast, but was that before or after the Final Fantasy set? And if it was after, did you work on any of the cards? I did do work on that. That was the last one that I worked on. Was the Final Fantasy set? I think that was the very last one I did. I haven't looked or anything. I don't know if any of my stuff's come out. I've just been so busy. I don't really pay attention. I think in general with those cards, I wasn't super crazy about how mine came out. I was kind of bummed when I finished that. do you feel about the universes beyond side of Magic? It's fine. I mean, it's a way to like make money. I get it. It's like having some like collectible thing. It's fine. I think the thing that I'm not crazy about with like that type of stuff is like once it comes into the Wizards kind of fold, they have such a limited kind of art direction with that stuff that it kind of makes it like boring to me in some respects. But it's not like there aren't other things that still, you know, carry that torch of making things that are in universe and cool and original ideas and stuff. Like you can get too big, you know, like your game can get too popular. Like all these things can happen where you just think like, oh, now we need the next step, we need the next evolution of this, so we need to grow, let's bring in more and more people, make the thing more and more popular, we need more money. Just like endless growth. And you can have something that was so niche and cool, and then you can have it start to like grow beyond to where now it needs to be like for everybody in like its direction or anything like that. And like, I mean, honestly, like it's nice to have niche things that don't necessarily need to be mega hits all the time. Like that's the stuff, honestly, like nowadays that becomes mega hits are the things that serve an audience, or even like just the people that make it. It's like that they like what they make. I just see it all the time. I see like that limitation put on something where you're like, oh, now this product has become too popular, so now it can't be its original voice. It needs to now serve everybody, and like we need to do like a more generic kind of approach to how we do this, as opposed to it being very niche and like interesting and weird. It's like in the same sense where before Dark Souls came out, there was this whole thing about, you know, like why would you make a game that's really hard? Like nobody's gonna play it. It's gonna be such a small, narrow audience. Then you realize that, you know, people want a challenge, people want this stuff. It's like they want to feel like something's very specific. And it's like its own flavor of thing. So I think I'm more or less like against that, like just kind of the genericization of everything. You just go like, okay, now it works for everybody. Now that it looks like everything else you've ever seen, now it's good. And that whole thing of like when a product or a game or anything becomes so huge that you can't circumnavigate things that are happening in the world, because, you know, steering that ship involves too many people signing off. It's like you have like 52 captains and they're like, can we just avoid the iceberg? And then everybody has to ask down a crazy chain of command to turn left. And if they get confirmation to turn left, then they can turn left. It's like you really just need a confident person at the top to make good decisions who actually understands the company and what's cool about whatever product they have. Like, that's really all you need. And you also need to take risks. You need to take lots of risks. Okay, I'm gonna hop off of here now. But hey, look, we started making some decent progress. Drew the whole thing up. This thing will come together really fast after this. Yeah, thank you all for hanging out tonight. I appreciate you. I gotta hop off of here and handle some client work. I gotta finish some stuff up for a meeting tomorrow. Yeah, thank you all. Appreciate you. And I'll talk to you next time. Later, everybody.